This is a Stretch Goals quick hitter, and in this episode, Scott and I are going to talk about how not to fail like Mariah Carey did.
Ooh.
This is the Stretch Goals podcast, where each week we'll share insights and lessons learned based on our experiences as entrepreneurs. We'll challenge you to create ambitious goals as you start and grow your business. I'm your host, Robert Dickerson.
And I'm Scott Davis. That was pretty bad.
What was
Mariah
bad?
Carey, not your intro. Mariah Carey, New Year's Eve. I'm sure you all saw it.
That was bad. It was embarrassing. I was embarrassed.
Yeah. And this isn't the first time. Last year at the Rockefeller Christmas lighting, she sang a song or two and did basically the same exact thing. Was all off key, decided not to sing. It was pretty embarrassing. So my wife and I watched New Year's Eve just so we could see how she was going to do. And she did worse. We didn't think it was possible, but it was pretty bad.
So for those of you that didn't see it, we're talking about Mariah Carey on New Year's Eve when she performed right before midnight. And she was supposed
live on
TV. She was supposed to lip sing. And supposedly her earpiece went out. She couldn't hear the song. And so she just walked around and made a bunch of comments.
Yeah. Well, actually, so she was supposed to lip sing one, actually sing a second, and then lip sing a third. So two lips, sing tracks, and then one actual track. But yeah, she blamed it all on failed monitors and failed earpiece, and tried to sing a couple of notes and was horribly off tune. Just bad. And look, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say she's no longer at her prime. It is what it is. Every person in their life will come to that. Can she still sing in the studio better than most people? Probably, absolutely so. Probably, I'm 90% certain of that. But maybe live singing is no longer her thing, right? It was a disaster. It was a train wreck. And the point of this podcast today, though, is what do you do when you're in that situation? How do you turn that into an opportunity? Or how do you fail gracefully instead of, just kind of giving up in front of everybody?
Well, I mean, do you think that she recovered from that well? Because I guess she sent out a couple of tweets and...
No, I don't believe anything she's saying. She's blaming people, and that's not the way to recover.
Well,
right?
The first thing is should she have quit? Should she have just kind of walked off stage and, even while she was performing, started to blame, different things, or should she just kind of run with it? And
I would have run with it and let it be bad, and everyone would have figured out, it's the audio's off, something's not right, and that would have been it, right? But she brought attention to herself by acting like a child on stage. I mean, that's the problem.
I was always thinking during the whole time is why didn't she just start singing? Even if it doesn't match the music, at least people would think, oh, well, there's some technical difficulty she can't hear, right?
She could have sang Auld Lang Syne, and everyone would have been freaking happy. Or even Jingle Bells. You're right. But she did try to sing at one point during the second song where she was actually supposed to sing. She dropped like 4 or 5 words, and they were like, it was so bad. And the guy, she was dancing next to a guy, and he even kind of looked at her like, oh, what was that? But yeah, you're right. She should have absolutely done something. What she did was she basically gave up and basically said, I can't do this without the pieces I need. But we face that every day in business, right?
Yep.
Somebody's not here at work today, or a system's broke. You don't just give up. You do what you can to work through it. And
some people do. Some people give up.
Some people do.
They say, wait for tomorrow
right.
until they get back.
Yeah. Don't put out the fire. Just let it burn. It'll eventually go out. Yeah. But that's the thing, right? She, in my opinion, she gave up, and she shouldn't have. And now she's blaming people, and that's my opinion. Whether that's the case or not, I could be way wrong, but I think she should have powered through it. She should have done something. I would have been like, "Hey, audio guys, cut the sound. Let me sing a cappella."
Right?
Something is better than what she did.
Right. And I think as founders and people starting our own businesses, we need to embrace failure and use it as a learning opportunity to learn from our mistakes and be able to create opportunities for yourself. Because, I've failed numerous times and I will continue to do it, I'm sure.
What's interesting about that is like I see it every day, like with my kids, like they fail at simple things that we've done billions of times, you know? And I like look at them and I'm like, man, like you're learning, like you have to make that mistake and I have to let you make that mistake so that you learn how not to do that. And I think that's what Mariah has learned, hopefully, is that number one, you need to have a backup plan if you're lip singing. And, you know, the second point of it, is maybe singing in front of a live crowd is not your thing anymore. You need to look at other opportunities or retrain yourself to be prepared for that scenario. Don't just expect to show up and be, you know, Mariah of the 90s again.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting to know is how much time she prepped and prepared. It sounded like that there was none that, at least right before, because they didn't have a, kind of a rehearsal to go through it. So I'm wondering if like she wasn't prepared and so that resulted in a failure. So maybe that's the learning opportunity. You need to spend more time preparing and getting ready.
Yeah, we haven't seen any stories from people behind the scenes there to like really know like what happened because there's 5 or 6 other stories out there. I'm sure,
some of the audio producers were like, "It wasn't our fault," They said a bunch of things about it, and so that to me that was kind of interesting. They were throwing her under the bus.
And look, I'm not going to dispute that. It was freezing cold. It was very loud. You probably don't have ideal speaker setups. Like it's reverberating off buildings and stuff. Like it's not an ideal scenario. So like, I'm not saying that I could have done better. But what I am saying is that she's a professional and she should have recovered in a different way. If LeBron James didn't have basketball shorts on, he would still play the damn game, right? If he didn't have shoes on, he would still play. He's not going to let that stop him is my point.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm not a LeBron James fanboy. Michael Jordan all the way.
All right. So this is a quick hitter. We just want to talk about that a little bit and just say, if you fail, as you fail, think about those as opportunities. It's a tough pill to swallow, but really embrace that failure and learn from your mistakes and use it to get better all the time. And hopefully Mariah Carey will do that as well.
That's right. La, 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 la.
We'll see if she'll be there next New Year's.
Doubtful.
Apparently it's hard to find people to sing on New Year's. I mean, because you got Coolio on one channel and Mariah Carey on the other channel. So.
Hey, next year, you and me, we're going to sing.
Yeah. So what do we learn from Mariah Carey's failure? I think there's 3 different things that we can take away. The first thing is that you need to be prepared. You need to get everything together and be prepared that when you go on the big stage, you're going to give it your best shot. Second thing is don't give up. Even if things are going bad, even if you can see that you're not performing up to the task, don't give up. Continue going forward. Continue putting your best effort forward. And number 3 is really embrace it as a learning opportunity to get better and to grow your business and to learn from those mistakes that you've made because we're all going to make more mistakes in the future. Trying to mix it up here a little bit on stretch goals. Let us know what you think on Twitter. Appreciate it. See you next week. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Stretch Goals podcast. You can access the show notes for this episode and listen to other episodes by heading over to stretchgoals.fm.